Women in Wine. I founded the company about 3.5 years ago. Change of life crisis, I don't know what. I was a mortgage banking, real estate technology expert, bringing bricks and mortar companies to the web. I built a company that did $700 million in revenue last year for an employer, and then started my own strategic consulting company, bought and sold companies in the same space, and then just said I had it. You know why? Because mortgage bankers' idea of drinking a glass of wine over dinner was order the most expensive thing, throw up before the meal was over, don't remember anything the next day. And I was very successful in that space, believe me. I worked it. I totally worked it. So I have a little story that I start these things off with. And the story goes like this. I'm around 29 years old, and my clients have a $22 million deal that's on the table, and I've been doing a lot of business with them. We've become great personal friends. And I take them to Camp in ELA, and this is like 100 years ago, before Camp in ELA, before you guys were born. And I know that they're going to be like totally high testosterone kind of people, and they're going to order the most expensive wine on the list, and I'm paying, and I'm like freaking out. So I call the restaurant in advance, and I talk to the sommelier and the maitre d' and say, whatever you do not give the wine list to these jerks. And with that, I arrive at Camp in ELA, make sure I'm in the right seat, and of course the wine list comes, and my client, who's the senior person, goes to like grab for it, and already I'm like seeing dollar signs in the multi-thousands, and I say to him, no, let me surprise you with a choice of wine for dinner. I know how much you like wine. You know I worked at Windows on the World. I have, pretty good wine background. And with that, I signal to the sommelier that I'm going to choose this bottle of wine, and they have 5 bottles of it. And so we're over dessert, and the conversation has gotten loud, and they're having an amazing time, and they feel so flattered because the service has been amazing, which I had arranged for in advance as well. And dessert comes, and I say to them, I'm going to play a little game with you guys. How much do you think the wine costs? And so, for a minute, they're like, oh, taken aback. And then I said, no, really, come on, let's play this game. And so, they're stroking their egos. One says $400 a bottle, the other one says $300 a bottle, somebody else says $250 a bottle. And then I go, no, $68 a bottle. And at that point, they all like drop their forks. They kind of like looked at me like, how dare you only spend $68 a bottle, like what is that, a $39 bottle of wine in the store? And I said, and I did it for a reason. And I said, the reason is that your $20 million deal requires me to be a fiduciary for your company with my company. And you're going to be buying a lot of services from us that are going to equal like $20 million over the next 2 to 3 years. And I want you to know that there will be times to spend a lot of money, but I wanted you to show that I'm also a good judge of character when it comes to money, and that we can still have a great time, and that I can buy this wine, and you can enjoy yourself, and no sacrifice was made except that, kind of a little embarrassment on my part that, because I'm paying the check, I thought that this was what I could afford, and, some other times when we're doing more business, and it was worth about $3 million to me personally. And the senior guy said, waiter the pen, and he signed the deal, and I got the deal about all these guys who I was competing with. And so the moral of the story is that people really ignore the fact that knowing about wine and food can really help you in a social situation. In this era where you're looking for everything from a reference to who do you know, or I'm looking for this, or even a few people I've talked to here said, I'm a little bit in transition, I have this experience, whatever. You're going to meet for a drink, you're going to meet for coffee, you're going to meet for a meal. And in a lot of cases, you might have a friend who's working that you're meeting with, and they say, oh, I'll pay for whatever you order. But in some cases, it's really appropriate for you to be the one to purchase whatever is being consumed, because it is a favor for this person to meet with you. And so I wanted to give you some life tips on how to avoid the crisis of, I can't afford it, what do I order, and how am I going to get out of this situation looking cool? Because, I can Twitter and lots of people are following me, but I have no idea what Vino Verde or Rosé or any of these other wines that are really reasonable might cost, and they all taste delicious, and so I just go to the top of the list and pick the most expensive thing. So are we following here? Okay.